Oh, hello, Norwood. How are you? Thanks for inviting me into your home today to talk to you about my candidacy for treasurer. My name is Pat Dowling, and I'm running for Norwood treasurer. It's funny, I moved to Cincinnati in 1986, but I actually had been coming down here specifically to Norwood since I was about 10 years old. Zumbiel Box was one of my dad's customers, amongst others in Cincinnati, and I can remember very fondly coming down here, taking tours of plants with him, going to lunches and dinners, and staying at the Quality Inn. So I feel like I was born and raised here almost. My family and I moved to Norwood in 2015. However, we've owned property here in Norwood since 2005, where our son and his family lives. That's in Ward 1. When we first moved to Norwood, we rented. That was in Ward 2 for 6 months. And then we moved to Ward 3 and rented for another 2 years. Until finally in 2017, we bought a house, and we've been living there back in Ward 2 since 2017. You might ask, who am I? Well, let me tell you a little bit about myself. In no uncertain order, I was the oldest of 8 children, born in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. Like probably most of you, we've been through a lot. I had a brother die. My father today broke his neck last year in the midst of COVID, and now he has aphasia. My mom suffers from Alzheimer's. I have a sister with MS. And we as a family, 8 brothers and sisters, I've got 12 nieces and nephews and a couple great nieces and nephews. Growing up in Cleveland Heights, I was raised in a very ethnically and religiously diverse neighborhood. I had a black family next to me, a Jewish family on the other side. My neighbor 2 doors down, his father was killed by the mob in Cleveland. Lebanese refugees around the block, and refugees from French Guiana 4 or 5 blocks away. The mantra for our family was treat others as you'd like to be treated. My personal family, my wife and I, we've raised 9 children. Our oldest daughter passed away in 2017. Our oldest son is married with 2 children, as I said, in Ward 1. His wife is a teacher's aide at Sharpsburg. His son is a junior at Norwood High School, and his daughter in the Norwood Middle School. Our next daughter's married with 3 children. They live in Pleasant Ridge, and yeah, that means I'm a grandfather 5 times over. 2 daughters live in Covington, 1 son in over the Rhine, and the 3 youngest live home with us. The youngest just graduating Norwood High School last year. Our families face challenges. We didn't suffer too bad through COVID. Our family's healthy today. Everyone has a job, which is great. However, my wife's been through a little bit. She had an alcohol problem that forced her to get a liver transplant. Her memory's impaired now. She suffers from seizures. Is not able to drive. And it's only through the help of 2 great ladies here in Norwood that I was able to make it through. So I'll reach out to Clara and to Petra and thank them for all their help. My daughter, as I said, passed away in 2017, and my son, right now, I have a son in drug rehab as well. So we've been through a lot, but we were extremely blessed. Why share all this information with you? Well, I wanted to let you know that I'm a real person just like you. Even though my family is not part of an administration, or I'm running for treasurer, they're not, I thought you might enjoy and find interesting my story. And I hope that through my story you can relate, as I'm sure we've had many shared experiences. So now let's move on. What I wanted to do was try to go through my background, my education, and my qualifications first for treasurer of Norwood. I will talk later on about what the job entails, I'll talk a little bit about how my experience is mapped to that job, why I'm running in the first place, and so let's get going. I said I was raised in Cleveland Heights, went to St. Anne Elementary School, played sports, football, baseball, wrestling. I went to St. Ignatius High School and graduated from there. I played ice hockey. And then I went to Miami University, where I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. I majored in finance and had a emphasis in economics, as they didn't offer a minor in economics at the time. I played rugby at Miami, not for very long though. I went to the Mid-American Conference Rugby Championship in OU and broke my ankle. So now I'm out of school. My first job brought me almost to Norwood. I lived in the Park Lane Apartments out of college, at the corner of Victory Parkway and Sherman, where I was an operations officer at Fifth Third in the Corporate Trust Department. And what the Corporate Trust Department did was they transferred stock and bonds. If someone bought a share of Fifth Third Bank from someone else, we would transfer their certificate, keep the records. We did that for bond issues of companies as well as municipalities. We did the record keeping, we paid interest and dividends, and we transferred the shares. After about 2 years at Fifth Third, I went to the David Joseph Company. Most of you probably have never heard of it, but even back 30 years ago, it was $1 billion company in downtown Cincinnati. They specialize in scrap metal recycling and processing, as well as brokerage. They had offices at that time in 12 or 13 different states, and I was responsible for the administration of those offices. I opened them, closed them down, hired the administrative staff, bought capital equipment, did auditing and inventory, even did union negotiations. After 5 years at the David Joseph Company, my wife told me she wasn't leaving Cincinnati, so I had to find something else. I started my own small business consulting firm called Dowling and Associates that operated for a couple years. Helped start several businesses, grow several businesses, and then after a couple years I went to Syncom Systems, where I've been since 1995. I started off in sales there. Do you hear the Norwood progress? Construction. So I started off in sales there. I moved on to customer management, ensuring the satisfaction and loyalty of customers. I went on to run a couple different divisions, document systems and configuration systems, where I had profit and loss responsibility for organizations approximately $40 million, and I got to travel the world with that, as I had worldwide responsibility. I move on to strategic alliances, and currently today, among other things, I'm responsible for cloud hosting, which means we take our software, install it on our servers, and let our customers access it over the internet. I also am on the investment committee of our 401k plan, which is a $50 million plan. And I have fiduciary responsibility there, which means that if we don't provide the right funds, the right mix of funds, etc., I can be sued. And I bring that up because of the relevance to the real roles and responsibilities of the treasurer, which I want to move into next. The role of the treasurer is specifically defined in the Ohio Revised Code. It actually says the treasurer shall be the custodian of all monies of the municipality, shall keep the monies in such a manner and as such determined by the legislature, meaning city council and the mayor, and pay out money when warranted by the auditor. So what does this mean for Norwood? It means the treasurer is responsible for safeguarding the cash balances of the city, managing the intake of monies and the spending of monies, maintaining the bank accounts, paying the debts of the city, etc. That said, and based upon my role, I feel I'm qualified. But what do I think I can do if elected? First and foremost, I want to start by saying I'm not a politician. I don't want to be one. And I don't think the role of treasurer should be political anyway. The last thing we want with the money of Norwood's money is to be politicized. The role is a safeguarding and protecting of the treasury. That's it. So in order to help safeguard those funds and position Norwood for growth in the future, I want to introduce 7 priorities. The first of those priorities are fiscal transparency. I really think that we should be fiscally responsible and transparent to our customers, you, the citizens. Okay? Right now, I don't know what the budget is because it hasn't really been published anywhere since 2019. I want to do whatever I can to achieve fiscal emergency freedom. As you know or don't, Norwood is under fiscal emergency. The state of Ohio controls us to some extent. I want to do whatever I can to eliminate that. I want to look for efficiencies in city government. Just one small example, and I'm not picking on the water department, but the water department collects checks with the water bill. They transfer the checks over to the treasurer deposits them, and then sends notifications back to the water department. Why can't we consolidate that all in one place? Number 4, I want to work to ensure that all businesses within the city are paying their taxes. Right now, we don't know if they are or they're not. Number 5, how about e-filing for taxes? Instead of sending paper forms in that have to be manually processed, let's e-file. Number 6, I want to work to create free electronic payments. Instead of having to pay a charge to pay my water bill or to pay my taxes electronically, how about making it free? And number 7, I want to make sure that all payments sent to Norwood are processed in a reasonable time. I don't know about you, but I've sent checks to Norwood for my water or my taxes, and it's taken months sometime to get them deposited. And try to get a refund? Almost impossible. Why am I running? Because as a citizen, I wonder why we can't pay our bills, why we can't fix our roads when things like the Rookwood area development, office building development, why aren't we getting money from those places in taxes? Rather than sit back and do nothing, I wanted to help the city solve its problems any way I could. My background's in finance. I thought the treasurer was a perfect place to go. Why the treasurer? Why Pat Dowling? I think the roles and responsibilities that I had in my personal and professional life map real well to the roles and responsibilities of the treasurer. And finally, I'm not a politician. I will not play with your money. If you agree that based upon my qualifications for the role of treasurer, that I'm the right person, I very humbly ask for your vote in November. Thank you very much.